use. No channel to use. Cruise control mentalities. Here we offer you. We gon' show you a new way. The content, it never strays from positive and uplifting. Once a week, the scope gifted. With the presence of your eyes, what a distraction. Beautiful to soul, especially in action. This year not ration. Came in abundance. Films like in Sundance. Tech like the pop art. Taught you queen. You are Curtis, a beast heart. You must carry, cause MCs they all vary. And seldom do they motivate. World full of hate. We serve a hope on a plate across different platforms. This here a buffet, hydration like Boucher. Don't focus on a day, we always here for you. Don't when you emotionally broke. Settle in our knowledge and conversations, gon' make them yours. What we run is Olympic, now your hands on the torch. Take it easy like Sundays on the porch. MediaScope when you emotionally broke. Settle in our knowledge and conversations, gon' make them yours. What we run is Olympic, now your hands on the torch. Take it easy like...
What's up, everyone? Okay, excuse that little snafu. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another week of media, tech, and pop culture fun and foolishness. This is MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. In case you don't know who I am, allow me to thoroughly introduce myself to you. My name is Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer. I'm also a journalist. We have a guest today, and I'm so excited. But you know who we don't have today? This guy right here, MC Curtis. I am MC Curtis today because he can't be with us today. So I'm running everything. And yeah, it's interesting. It's been a long time since I had to run everything myself, but we're going to make it work and we're going to do it. I am super, super excited. Let's see. Oh, do we have a guest here? I think not guest, but do we have some comments? We do, I think. Here we go. Jawaru Gambian, original MediaScope Massive himself. What's up, Jawaru? I hope all is well. There is no MC to pick on today. You only have me, and use your words carefully. I'm kidding. I hope everybody is well. I didn't give you a hug yet. Giving you a hug to let you know that I certainly appreciate all of you being here. You could choose to be any place else, but you choose to be here with us. I especially appreciate those of you that are supposed to be working and you're not. Thank you. Thank you for coming. We love that. So with that, we're going to, I don't want to delay because we have a great guest today. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to have him on forever and ever and ever. And I haven't had a chance to ask him. I asked him and he said yes. We have Ross Brand in the house today, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to bring him up in just a moment. Let me let you all know that if you have any questions, if you have any comments, concerns, please make sure that you ask. Oh, but before we get to Ross, let me say hello to everybody who is watching us on Facebook or will watch us on Facebook on the replay. How are you doing? Or Bookface. Hello to YouTube. I know our YouTube audience comes in a little bit later, so hello to those of you on YouTube. If you are watching us or you happen to be watching us on, hey, Jason Donaldson is here. How are you? He watches us on Facebook. If you happen to be watching us on Twitch, welcome Twitch. We love our Twitchers. I don't even know that that's the right word. Twitchers? Whatever. Welcome, Twitchers. Thank you so much for being here. For those of you that are watching, we've got YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, both the MediaScope page and my personal page. Oh, LinkedIn. If you're watching, hello. So for those of you watching on LinkedIn or my personal Facebook page, the comments don't come up for me, so I have to check on another device. So stand by. I appreciate you being here, and I'll get to your comments and questions. And if you are watching, or you happen to be listening, rather, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in Nassau, the Bahamas, or the rest of the Caribbean on Gospel 107.1 FM, we wish you a multitude of blessings. So since MC Curtis is not here, we don't have the amen music, so I'll just have to give you a clap and say, amen. There you go. So I sang it for you. So thank you all so much for being here. Jason Donaldson, my old we danced in 2 dance companies together, so I'm always happy whenever I get here. What did I do to Curtis? You need to ask Curtis what he did to me. I'm just kidding. I did nothing to Curtis. Okay, Curtis isn't his kid. He'll be back next week. So, and I just have to say hello to Cheryl Woods. Cheryl Woods, what's up? How are you, Cheryl? And Dr. Vibe, the man who does epic conversations almost every day of the week. He has an amazing morning show called The Morning Vibe. He does on Mondays and Fridays. He also does the what is the name of the show that the exact name of the show that you do with Lala and I said Lala and them. What's the exact name of the show? The state of things with Aisha, Lala, and Jill, right? I think I said that right. So they do an amazing show. They talk about current events in the US, even though Dr. Vibe is Canadian. So make sure you check him out. Check him out. All right. So I think I have spoken enough. Let's hear from our guest. Hopefully I can run things right. So give us a minute and we will be back with Ross Brand. Ross Brand, the man himself. Ross, how are you?
I'm great. I love that intro music. I'm going to have that play when I walk down the hall. When I go to the store, that's going to play.
Don't we all need a theme song?
That is it.
That's your theme song. I picked it especially for you. It reminds me of, did you ever see the movie I'm Going to Get You, Sucker?
Yeah.
So whenever he walked, he had a like theme song, a band that played behind. That's you. This is yours. You're welcome, Ross.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Ross. Now, for those of you who don't know, I've known Ross actually since about 2015. That was the beginning of the quote commercial live streaming age, if that's even the real term for it. Live streaming has always been around, but it was more so people that were doing events, live events. So that was their specialty, and it was really convoluted, and we both have done it, convoluted and complicated. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And then came Meerkat and Periscope and some other things, and a lot of us jumped into it. And that's how I can't even remember what platform we met on. Do you?
Probably on Blab.
Okay, it was probably Blab.
Because I was not comfortable in the beginning with the, this one-to-many thing. I was definitely, doing talk shows, doing stuff like we're doing here. And I guess it wasn't a bad choice because this is become a staple of live streaming and a staple of, YouTube now with video podcasts and everything. So we've really been at it for quite a while, doing the kind of shows that have had the staying power. And of course, your show more so than almost any is going strong. 8 years, so many different destinations on the radio in the Caribbean. I mean, it's amazing seeing how it's developed.
Well, thank you very much. But one thing is, I don't give up. Other people can jump ship, but I'm going to make sure that if there's something I enjoy doing, and I think that's the big thing, enjoying doing it. So right. Let's start with this. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please make sure that you ask in the chat. We will definitely put them up for Ross to answer. And if you have any comments, do what you do, MediaScope Massive. So speaking of enjoyment, what is it about? Let's start with live streaming. That's really how you jumped into it. Yeah. What is it about live streaming that made you say, this is what I want to do?
I think it's the energy of the audience and having that real feedback. I say audience, but it's really a community of people that show up week after week, show after show. And unlike radio or TV, which have plenty of strengths, one thing they don't have is this type of live real-time feedback. And it's just so powerful. I mean, people will come up with things in the chat that myself or my guests never thought of. People will come up with information on the topic, will know something about my guest, will add something that just makes the show better and more interesting. And I feel like you feel that energy. And when I have to pre-record something, I sort of have to create that in my mind, because it's a totally different relationship with people who are watching and listening than most any other audio or video medium.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, did you start your media journey with with live streaming, or were you also a broadcaster? Like, I'm looking at your mic and all of that. And this is definitely a broadcaster that that I'm here. Is that where you started, or let us know.
I started in radio, so I was used to doing live. And I worked in radio for about 12 years on air. And then I went to do other things. So I had no experience with being on camera. Even to this day, I sometimes forget that I'm supposed to look at the camera. And so when I got into it, I basically recreated a radio style show. But I respected the fact that this is a different medium. Being away from radio for a while meant I came to it with fewer preconceptions and treated it as something new and different. So you bring some skills with you, but it's definitely a different kind of medium, and it's the interaction with the audience that makes it so unique, I think, compared to any other type of audio and video.
I agree. Before we keep going, let's say hello to some people. Rashawn Vincent is here. What is up, Rashawn? It's good to see you. She was also on the IG side. I saw you sneak onto IG too. I'm like, let me get on over there.
Let me see what controversial topic I might have to address later in the show.
Never. No, not that. Although we will be talking about something. We also have Terry Johnson online.
Hey, Terry.
You know Terry. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. She is because we're going to talk about your books plural in a little while. And Hannah Boyd Miller is also here. Hello, Hannah. I see her every morning in Ron Lewis's show. It's all about photography. So welcome. And then Tarla Toomer, who is local to the South Florida area, is here. Welcome, Tarla. It is so good to see you. Sorry, Dr. Tarla Toomer. Excuse me. And Terry says that we're good. And you?
Very good.
Good. All right. So let's keep going with this line of questioning. Again, folks, if you have anything that you want to ask Ross about anything we're going to talk about, please do so in the chat. We will definitely be happy to, even though he didn't say yes, I'm answering on his behalf.
Yeah.
We'll be definitely happy to answer any of your questions. And the cool thing is, a lot of other people have not met in person before, because again, since the live stream, this was even before pandemic, live streaming was a thing, and there were people who had never met in person. But we actually, right before the pandemic, got to meet in person at Podfest, which for me was so cool. So I've actually met you one time in person.
Yeah, we met. I had hosted a meetup. We met there, and then the next day you came on my show that I was doing live from there. And then the day after, I think was Sunday, I flew home Sunday, and by Monday afternoon, I think I went out to lunch somewhere, and by Monday evening, like, everything was locking down. So that was like the last time for a long time that we were together with people.
Exactly. That was the last thing I went to. And there was this thing, okay, if you feel comfortable shaking hands, you can. If you don't want to shake hands, you could put this on your badge. We have stations. So it was like, and that time they had 2 reported cases in Florida. 2 that we knew about anyway, right?
Right, and there's so much conflicting information. I'm like wiping my entire hotel room down with, disinfectant. Like, now you think back about it, it was probably an overreaction, but we had no idea what we were doing. And
and it's scary. And the first thing you do when it comes to any type of emergency like this, you slash and burn, because you don't know what is the cause. So we were all, but that was really, again, I remember it very vividly. That was the last event that I went to for a long time, up until last year, where I felt like kind of a little more comfortable. I'm
Right.
still kind of like back it up, but I was a lot freer then.
Right.
So we do have a question, but so I'll withhold my line of questioning because Joaru Gambian has this question. First question: any good mic recommendations?
Sure. If you don't have a mic, I recommend the Samson Q2U. It's very affordable, and it's what I used for several years when I got started. It's USB, so it plugs in, but it also has an XLR cable if you need to use it with professional equipment, with a mixer, audio interface. So that's where I would start. If you've already got an audio interface, then there's great handheld mics like, let's see, there's a Sennheiser E835, which I like a lot, and that's like about 100 US. There's the Shure SM58, and then all the way up to, broadcast style mics like the Shure SM7B that I'm using, and the Electro Voice RE20 are sort of your classic radio mics. And Shure's got a mic that's both XLR and USB that runs in the like 250, 220 range, I think. That's a really good mic that's sort of modeled on this, but if you use it USB, it has some other features built in. So if you have any other questions, I'd be happy, just DM me or hit me up on Twitter or whatever. I'd be happy to tell you what I think about a whole range of different mics.
No, that's awesome. And in fact, you know what I'll do? I'll do a MediaScope moment, and then in the caption, I'll put Ross's recommendations. So I'll just get those from you and then put them in the caption so that people can see it. That was invaluable. Thank you.
Sure.
And I forgot to say hello to Susan Engels, but we can never forget you. How are you, Susan? Good to see you. And did I miss? There you are. After Dark with Johnny Ray. Hello, Johnny Ray. So good to see you. And Joaru Gambian disinfected his hotel room way before COVID. But we should have probably all been doing that because we've all heard the horror stories of how filthy hotel rooms at planes, etc. are. So yeah, we should have been doing that. And Terry has a great comment for you. Love what Ross is doing. The book series is such a great idea. Thanks for including me. And I have to say thank you for including me too. So let's talk about that since Terry brought it up. How did you come up with the idea for this book? Because it's basically like, I guess you would call it an anthology, right? Where it is a lot of different authors together giving their predictions on video, on live streaming, on television, on streaming. So how did you come up with the idea for this? And then where did you start?
So I started with a blog post in late 2015, early 2016. Going into 2016, I started asking people that I had met through live streaming. I was only a couple months into this. At the time, I was like, man, it would be cool to put the blog post together. And you remember back, what were people talking about then? Like, will Facebook Live destroy Blab? Well, that was the conversation. Yeah. Spoiler alert, Facebook won.
Blab is no more.
But so that was it. I started with like 37 people, and then each year I continued to do it. And by the time I got to, I guess it was late 2020, and it was the 5th anniversary Livestream Universe, which was the 6th annual Livestream Universe predictions coming up. Since I started the predictions shortly after I started Livestream Universe, I decided that I would have this like kind of celebration of 5 years, and I invited everybody who had been a part of that universe, right? Who'd been guests on my shows, whose shows I watched, who, I had done some collabs with, what have you. And all, out of that, a lot of people came to this like 5-hour event that we did. And so I had this brilliant idea. Why don't I ask them for their prediction while they're live so I don't have to chase them down for a prediction? Well, that became a lot of work to transcribe all that. And somewhere along the way, it dawned on me that I have like a book length amount of material from all those transcriptions, especially since when people are talking, they're going to say a lot more than if they sent in a prediction in writing. So that's how the first book came about, which is the longest of them because it includes the conversations. So that came about in 2021, and I just continued what was a blog in book form ever since. We have volume 2 came out in 2022. And then the third volume, Dr. Tachi and Terry Johnson, among others, have been featured in all 3. And the number 100 came from the fact that I had, eventually I had more than 100 people in the blogs. In fact, one of the blogs I think got up to 160 something people. And so for the book, I was like, all right, let's do 100. And then I think the second book I actually did 130, and the third book I did 103 or something like that. But 100's a good number for going forward. You get a whole bunch of different insights. I think what's kind of cool this year is it's the least live streaming, podcasting, YouTube centric book. So if you think you got your, you think you got all the live streaming advice and tips and things that you need, this year really digs into AI. It digs into things like vertical video and a lot of the newer trends about community newsletters, the second rendition of newsletters, not your traditional kind of first round. So there's a lot of stuff in this that has a broader look at sort of the entire online business landscape.
And this is brilliant because the thing is that you could sit there and write this research and write the entire thing yourself.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Or you could be smart like Ross was and get a bunch of people that know what they're talking about, that have some semblance of knowledge to predict these types of things and talk about the industry in depth. And so you get all these different facets of what's happening in the industry. And it's interesting to go back, like when I read the last one, I said, oh, for real? I said that? Oh, it's neat to go back and see what people were predicting and then what actually comes true. And to be honest, this is a treasure trove of information, which is why you have won a couple of awards. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I didn't really know book awards were much of a thing. I didn't really know much about the self-publishing industry. And my friend Dale L. Roberts, who's been in the different books, and he's also an expert in self-publishing, told me, there's a lot of book awards out there. You should apply for some. This is a good book. And, I went ahead and I applied for some, and I've now won 21 book awards over the series. The first one won 11, the second one won 9, and the third one just won its first. So it's pretty cool, and it's something that other authors who want to market themselves, it's a great thing to take a look at. You have to pay, some of them you have to pay a small amount or whatever, but I mean, it's exciting when your book gets recognized, and it's won in the business categories, it's won in the tech categories. I was really excited. The recent one won for e-commerce, which I think is a big part of the book and big part of live streaming is, live selling, live shopping, and that niche. So,
and that's interesting that you say that, because the live shopping thing, you do Amazon, so do I, but not regularly like I should. And never mind. Anyway,
I don't do it as regularly as I should either, but
okay. I think the last one was like a year ago, but anyway, I still have my Amazon list,
right.
In my store. But I do an awful lot of Poshmark live selling. So I do like 3 or 4 shows a week, and it is phenomenally successful. I think there's something about live selling. That's why QVC and HSN do so well. It's right in the moment, and you can call it. I use the pot holders with the duck on them, and I love them. I ordered them for my mother, my sister, everybody. And because and people will pick up the phone. But the thing with this is it's live streamed. So everybody's comments can get recognized. And what I approach it the same way I do, like what you see me doing here is exactly what I do when I'm live selling.
Right.
It doesn't work. I sell stuff. So I can't wait.
You don't have to do what I call a pitch fest, which is just one product after another. Like you see some people on Amazon, they take the same boxes of tech every single day and they're like showing all the exact same things. And that's fine. If they're able to sell and they can talk passionately about these products and there's new audiences showing up, go ahead with that. But you could also interview an author and then you put their book on, you put maybe their favorite books, you could ask them about their favorite products, but you can definitely bring a talk show or a podcast style show to Amazon. And it's just a great place to put your content because it's not as busy as the other platforms. There's only, I think, about 2,000 to 3,000 of us who actually have that kind of quote-unquote influencer status where they can go live on there. So it's not a bad place to reach audiences. I don't know that, most people are going to make a lot of money on Amazon because the commissions are low, the rules are tough, but learn the skill set and then take it somewhere else, whether it's your shows that go out to YouTube and other social platforms or other dedicated selling platforms. I mean, I believe more of them are going to come online and it's going to get much more competitive, which should elevate commissions and elevate competition for people who can do well. And it's the future of live streaming in a lot of ways, I think.
Absolutely. I 100% agree and believe that. And already we started, Poshmark, because there is, for example, with Whatnot, and Poshmark and Whatnot are a little different because it's resellers as opposed to what many people on Amazon are doing, which is selling. I mean, I guess you are kind of reselling, but in this, it's different because you're selling the products that are available on Amazon, right?
Correct.
Whereas, and you don't necessarily have the inventory, but with live selling, often you have the inventory and you are selling it that way. So there's starting to be competition in different spaces for that. So yeah, watch out for that, folks. You heard it here first. That is the future of live streaming is actually live selling.
Absolutely.
So before we go on, let me take a break to say welcome to everybody who is just coming in here. You are watching MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. We're on every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Well, we do a pre-show on Instagram first at 5-ish. Never on at 5. Exactly, 5-ish. And anybody who's looking for me to be there at 5, you're going to be sad because I'm never there at 5. So look for me at 5-ish. But at 6-ish, we come on here and do our thing. All things media, tech, and pop culture. I probably should be more prompt, but do you see concern on my face? No. So today we are talking with a guest. We are talking with Ross Brand from 100, and we're going to talk about that 100 TV. Wait, 100 TV. I'm getting it wrong. Hold on. Let me bring you back on and get myself off. So we can. What is it called again? 100 TV
Network.
I keep wanting to say entertainment, but it's network. So 100 TV network, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. But let me say hello to some of our friends. Now, if you happen to be watching, like I said, on my personal Facebook page, because I'm using a link, it's not showing up in my list that I'm looking at on the encoder. So Marisa Tigney is here. Hello, Marisa. Welcome. She says greetings to everyone. Rigo Morales is here. Hello, Rigo. And he says, love the show. We love you, Rigo. How are you? He's local as well. Jeff Johnson, someone I know from my DC days, the DMV in the area. Hello, how are you? Christina Fernandez, hey, how are you, Christina? That is ex-Tina. How are you? Good to see you. Serena Wills. Serena, let me ask you to do this. Can you come join us on the MediaScope page, because I can't pull up your comments because you're on my personal page, and we need to see the MediaScope food truck. So come over to the MediaScope page, and what she's done is Taco Wednesday. We're always here on Wednesdays, never Tuesdays, so that's why we do Taco Wednesday. We've got some specials. So Serena, pop over to the MediaScope page so that I can actually put up your comments. And we have a special. Happy hour special, buy one, get one half off. So you get all sorts of things on the MediaScope food truck. Is it real? It is to us. That's all that matters.
There you go.
Fantastic. So we're going to keep going. And Terry Johnson says this. I think someone predicted live selling taking off in Ross's book. I think so, right?
I think Terry started talking about it in the first book. Yeah, Terry in the first book was already, I mean, that's like 2020. Late 2020, when the prediction was taken, was already talking about, I think, direct-to-consumer selling and live selling influencers and things like that.
You've got a guest here, Coach Jenny from Ross Brand's page. Hello, hello, welcome. And we've also got Rashawn. Hey, Rashawn, she's laughed. She's having a good time. I'm glad you are. And Rebecca is here. Hello, the future of live streaming.
Hi,
I'm
Rebecca.
So for it. How are you, Rebecca? Good to see you. And she also says, Ross always brings an A game. I love this guy. Don't we love Ross? I mean, I'm just saying.
Wow.
Alfredo, who's also old school live streaming, is here too. What's up, Alfredo? So good to see you. Fantastic. Did I get everybody? I think I did get everybody. All right. Jeff Johnson says, what's up to me? I don't know why on my personal page it will not populate in the list. I'm chopped liver. Anyway.
That's interesting because it's coming up from my personal.
Exactly. From Facebook.
Which I totally didn't expect.
And Twitch does it for me too. So I could pull up people from Twitch, but from my personal Facebook and from LinkedIn, my LinkedIn, I cannot.
That is strange.
Well, strange things.
The platforms aren't on our side.
They are not. Look, the social media gods are not on my side. I must have done something to upset the ancestors in a past life. I apologize. There's nothing I can do now. So, but anyway, we are here talking with
and they created algorithms to punish us all.
They did. No, they did. I'm telling you, we did something terrible in a past life. They said, we'll show you. We'll create algorithms to make your lives hell. So thank you. You've succeeded.
Right.
So we're here with Ross Brand, and we're talking all things live streaming. We're talking his book. Can you give us a favorite prediction in your book? Is there something that, and it could be any of the series, is there something that really hit you that said that's spot on?
You know, there's so many great predictions. I know this sounds like a political answer, but there really are so many great ones over the years that it'd be too hard to just pull one or two out. That, you know, I think so many. What made this past book so interesting, and we touched on it before, was how many people saw where AI was going, saw where text-based video editing, things like that were going. And now, you know, with ChatGPT and tools like the script, they've become commonplace. It's not just something for the specialist. It's something that, you know, creators, business owners, all different types of people online are taking advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we might as well turn our sights to ChatGPT, but I do want to say hello to D. Carpio. Hello, D. Carpio. I didn't forget you, my dear. I see you. And if I don't say anything right away, it's because we're in the midst of conversation, and I will get to you because I appreciate every single one of you being here. So ChatGPT, your thoughts on it? I need to know.
Well, whether I like it or not, it's here, and we're going to have to live with it. It's got its strengths. It's got its potential dangers. But I'm surprised at how effective it is, whether that's good or it's going to be diabolical going forward. But right now, I would love to be a purist and go, you know, I'm a writer. I can't use this. It's not correct to use it. Look, the reality is it speeds your time to market for doing anything that includes research and writing and content. So while I may not use it for something like live streaming all the time, there may be times where I do use it for, getting a fast start on a topic that I need to know about. It's just, I think if you're somebody who says, I'm a writer, this is a threat to my job, you have to sort of reframe it and say, okay, how can I learn to be the person who gets good at giving the prompts on the input side, and then get good at how do I take what ChatGPT puts out and edit that into something that sounds like it was written by a human, as obviously ChatGPT is starting to sound more and more like a human, but there lacks certain specificity, certain anecdotes, certain lived experience, if you want to use that term. I'm not sure what the exact way to say that is, but there's something that a good writer can do with the output from ChatGPT to both get that output faster than they could write it themselves, but then turn it into something that has more value, is more entertaining, is more interesting. So I think we all have to accommodate ourselves to it while watching out for the dangers and the ways that it might not ultimately serve us.
I think with ChatGPT, I think because that is the buzzword of the year, it's really AI, right? And machine learning that we're looking at. So my thing is that fraud is always discovered. And I think that people who are like, make $10 million in 24 hours with ChatGPT, to the people who are using it to learn something that they don't really know, to become proficient of it and then charge you $10 million from it, those are the people that the fraud is always going to be discovered. But the people who are using ChatGPT as a tool, meaning as a starting point, it's the same thing that I would tell my students at the university about Wikipedia. I said, you may not use Wikipedia as a source, but you can use it as a starting place. If it's something you don't know anything about, scroll down and find the real sources. At any Wikipedia entry worth its weight in gold will have actual peer-reviewed sources at the bottom. Scroll down and look for those, and then use it. So use it as a starting place. So to that, I say for ChatGPT, use it as a starting place, as a way to start to, if you have a problem getting a prompt to write something like a blog post or whatever, use it, but then you have to change it into your own words. It should not sound like a machine. And I guess the fear is people using it to purport that they are more knowledgeable than they actually are. But when has that not been a problem, right?
So, right. I mean, I think the bigger problem is when people start taking these things as gospel, like whatever ChatGPT, that's the answer. Well, the problem is that if you put out falsehoods in enough different places on the internet, then ChatGPT can think, well, there's 6 credible sources for that, because maybe it can't tell if you disguise it enough what's a credible source. So there's definitely a lot of room for government media manipulation, but like that's been going on forever anyway. So it's just a new tool that they have in their arsenal, and either we'll figure out ways to uncover that, or we'll suffer with it as we have with other, like we didn't need ChatGPT to be fooled and to be manipulated and to be like, they've been doing it for centuries, right? So it'll be with some other tool. But obviously, the more powerful these tools get, the harder it gets to be able to sift. The problem is, if your business doesn't exist in Google and Facebook can ban you, it's very arbitrary. How do you continue to be in business when that's where customers go to check you out before they would do business with you? So it centralizes the ability of those in power to hurt those who don't have that power, and to control who succeeds and pick the winners and losers in society.
But don't we have that already? Don't we already have that?
Oh, we already have that, but I'm saying these tools just continue to make it easier and easier. Like,
to do that,
we believe that the arc of human history bends toward freedom or whatever, and I'm not so sure, because the tools don't lend itself that way. Freedom is when you could live in some small town somewhere and nobody could mess with your business because everything was locally based and beyond the eyes of anybody who would be
Yeah.
bothered by anything you might say or write or whatever. And now it's like, it doesn't matter. The good news is wherever you are, you can have customers all over the world. The bad news is harm can reach you wherever you are, because all somebody has to do is snip the wires to your access to these, metaphorically snip the wires to your access to these platforms. So that's where my concern with all this is that, a lie spread quickly 100 years ago. Imagine how much quicker it's going to spread when you have these definitive sources, right? Google it.
Right.
Well, is the answer based on where people are searching, or is the answer based on what the algorithms play to, or is the answer based on what different governments want to come up for? There's a lot of factors that go into this, and it's probably one of those things that we have to see, but there are dangers involved, no doubt. But on a personal level, there's only one way to deal with it, I think, and that's accommodate yourself. Like, it's coming, it's going to be part of business. So if you don't want to just close your eyes to it, you want to learn how to leverage it and be able to manage it and use it to your advantage, because you don't want to be replaced by it. So.
Yeah, this whole thing is interesting. We could go on a whole other tangent.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off for so long.
No. Because this is the thing of the day, and ChatGPT is affecting everything from streaming to media to every. If you think it's not involved in what you do, guess again. It is involved in everything. So I think it's critically important that we have that. We have Buddy R over on the YouTube side that says cool. Hello, welcome, Buddy. Good to see you. Rebecca says this: I'm a writer by trade, and I think ChatGPT is a Christmas miracle. Blog posts, show notes, finally a helping hand. Okay, and there's that end to it as well, because there's so many of us who don't have help, and it's like, oh, well, hire somebody. Well, are you going to pay for it? Right? You're not necessarily monetizing to a large extent what you do enough to pay somebody to help you with it. So these types of tools can be invaluable for that. I agree. Alfredo says, I still have not gotten into ChatGPT as a tool, but it is very disruptive technology, especially in the area of cybersecurity. Fantastic. Rebecca says that you have a great point. And here we go. Terry Knight Nixon is joining us over on the Facebook side. She says, hello, everyone. Hello. And Serena, thank you for joining us and putting up the tacos for Taco Wednesday. We appreciate you. And now we're all severely hungry. Thank you.
Yeah, now I know what I'm getting for dinner.
No, exactly. No, this happens every week on MediaScope. We start talking about stuff and after, Caribbean food. That's what I want for dinner. So this is a great place to find out what, menu suggestions for dinner as well. So we do media tech, pop culture, and menu suggestions. So let's keep going. I'm just going to take a moment to say, welcome to the fold, everyone. My name is Tachi. I am a media professor, a filmmaker, a media content producer. This is me. And I'm also a journalist. You probably noticed you haven't heard MC Curtis or snarky comments or voice because he's not here today. He will be back next week. But today I am. So I'm just going to put this up. Today I am MC Curtis. I am running everything. And it's been let me tell you, it's been a long time since I've had to do everything. I'm spoiled because I have a Curtis because I don't have to do all the things myself. I'm very spoiled. So when I said, run it myself, even though that's what I'm trained to do. And so I'm doing it today. And we are here with every Wednesday at 6-ish. But we do 5-ish on Instagram. So make sure and guess what? If you're watching on YouTube and you've never been here before, guess you can go ahead and subscribe and like and hit the notifications so that you can know when I'm live. Even though I've told you every Wednesday, you can still, it's like you might be doing something on Wednesday. Like, I forgot. Let me get into it. All right. So that's that. Let's get back with our good friend Ross. So let's talk a little bit about the TV network. We have a little bit of time. Let's talk about the TV network. Tala, I'm excited. 100 TV network. Tell us about it.
So it's going to be launching with live linear programming on Monday, May 1st. We've got about 17 creators who are hosts, and we're going to do a revenue share where everybody shares equally, and it's all about creating unique, original, exclusive content. And as we talked about the different ways that the online platforms work, we're flipping the script on social media. Instead of everybody working in their silo where they can only produce so much content, we're taking hopefully as many as 100 creators or more as this thing ramps up, and we're bringing them all together on one channel. And the volume of content we'll be able to produce, the variety of content, the fact that we'll have new stuff constantly to put out. I think it's going to become a destination for people who enjoy watching shows by independent creators, where you can go to this channel and find something good that's going to be on, whether you watch it, in a linear fashion or you watch it through playlists on demand.
And it's interesting because you and I actually had this conversation.
We did.
And it feels like a lot of us, the natural evolution of live streaming is this. It's to start a content network full of content creators, because MC Curtis and I are doing the same thing. And we had the conversation. You were like, no way. I was like, no way you're doing it. So it's interesting. And I love to see it, because that just shows that the space is open for independent content and for creators who want to aggregate folks together. And so I was so excited when I heard that you were doing the same thing.
Likewise.
Super excited. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the next stage, and I think it's a necessary stage for independent creators. What do you call them? Independent creators, solo creators. We've all been siloed for too long. I mean, we've done some collabs. We all support each other in some ways. But really, we have to work together, because that's the only way we have the leverage and the bargaining power and the ability to support and promote each other that the bigger channels and the bigger networks have. And so I think that I think it's going to be hard for a lot of solo creators to survive on their own. And I'm hoping that this is a way that we both serve the audience by curating great content, and we serve the vendors by having so many opportunities if they choose to become sponsors, and the creators themselves having a network of people to support their content, and a place to really grow where there's just, you take advantage of the best of everything. If one person's good at this aspect and another person's good at that aspect of creating video and running a business, you're able to leverage the best of those skills.
And see, this is what I love, because Carlos Phoenix is doing the same thing. And so we're all like, this is disruption. This is disruption to the current Hollywood system. It's disruption to streaming, because when you look at it, everybody's going after even if it wasn't the broadcast networks, they then went after things like Netflix and Hulu, which is great, but not everybody, the average independent creator, is not going to have the chance to get on those networks. So what? Do you not create things when sometimes it's better than what's there? No, you create a place for them to go. And that's why I'm so excited that we all are doing this.
Right. And then how do you get people to watch that? And how do you get people to pay you for that? And it's very hard to do it by yourself. But together, now we've got a volume of content to trigger the algorithm, and you're not just making free content that the platforms are getting rich off of. You're actually able to sustain your business and grow your business as a creator as well as it's kind of fun being part of a lineup and being part of a network and
It is.
having that buzz going all the time and being able to support others and have others support you and seeing just it's really like I think you and I both saw this in the beginning, right? If this live streaming content creation thing takes off, there'll be more work than all of us combined who are doing it can handle.
Yeah.
And yet people have stayed very much ego driven and siloed too much out of fear that they won't be the one. But in fact, the only way that we can compete on a level play, not even a level playing field, but compete in a market in which there's big media competing on and huge brands competing on YouTube and people who've been on it for 1,000 years seemingly, or at least since 2005 or whatever, right? How do we compete with that? We compete with that by combining all of our skills and talents and audiences and
Exactly.
resources. And at the same time, it's just like I said, it's fun to see a lineup of shows and be a part of that, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm about banding together because, as you said, everybody's scared that they won't be the one. Well, I've been doing this for 8 years and I'm already not the one. So I might as well band together with other people. I have no fear that I'm already not the one. So, but the thing is, we all have dedicated audiences that love what we do. Why not pool them together? And I think that's it. This is the future of streaming as well. Live selling and this.
And Coach Jenny, who's here in the chat, and Rebecca Gunter, who's here in the chat, both of them are going to be hosts on 100 TV. So I'm really excited about that. Each month we're launching a different day of programming. So May we start with Monday, June we start with Tuesday. So we're looking for new hosts who have good content and are open to being a part of a collective effort to lift everybody.
Absolutely. That's great. Carlos's ear must have been itching because he's like morning from Vegas. He's launching the OTT. He is at NAB as we speak, launching his OTT. So, and Terry says Ross is 100% correct. David Benjamin Eccles, I saw you earlier. You said you were on LinkedIn. And like I said, LinkedIn folks, I'm sorry, I don't see your comments, but I appreciate that you're here. So he jumped ship and came over here. And Carlos Phoenix said that's exactly his business model. I think that's all of our, what we're doing in a sense. And I think I got Bobby Stamps has a question, but here's the thing. Since we have to vamoose, Bobby, we're going to table this because Ross, you're coming back on. I feel like I have more to ask you. See, you heard how I told you were coming back on.
Yeah.
You're
always ask the guest back when it's on camera because who's going to be a jerk and say no on camera? So now you got me. I would have said yes anytime, but of course now you locked it in, so we're good.
So I want to bring you back for
I would
part
love
two
to.
because I think this is great and sooner rather than later. So after this, I will contact you and let's schedule part two because this was amazing and there's so much more we have to talk about.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on this show, and congratulations on 8 years of great shows every week, consistency, great topics, great production. It's an honor, seriously, to be on this.
You are MediaScope Massive, so you've been part of the family since day one. So, almost day one. Well, when I met you. So, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Wow. All right. So, guys, we are going to hit it. Yes, I'm actually done on time because I actually have another event that I am moderating, and they caught me on a Wednesday. So it is what it is. I said I'll be there as soon as we're finished. That's why, not the only reason why, because we probably would have had Ross back again, but we definitely have to have him back and bend his ear a little more about the whole industry and everything. Johnny Ray says, what a great guest. You were absolutely amazing. And Rashawn said, I will be watching. Great. David said he enjoyed you. And yay, part two from Terry. So we're going to make that happen very, very soon. And with that, we love you for watching. We bid you adieu. You guys, myself, Ross Brand, and all of this information. We'll be back, but for now, we are going to exit stage left. I'm going to use my lackluster production skills and get us off. In the meantime,
how do I get out of here?
I know, how do we get out of here? In the meantime, we will see you next week. Cheers.
Culture meets the art, podcast with the heart and essence of the growth. The power's in the people. Without you, we ain't equal.